Coming down.
Does he have it?
He's going to get it.
He haven't got it!
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly, Miller's still such up. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's gonna do it! Big Barry!
Welcome to Quebec and welcome to Montreal. It's SR4S Formula 3 time here in Montreal, named after the Mount Royal, the hill in the heart of the city. No building can be taller than the cross on Mount Royal. It's the film capital of Canada, so there should be some legendary shots today on this circuit. Gilles Villeneuve, named after the man himself who won here 44 years ago. In a city where buildings are connected by over 32 kilometers of underground tunnels. But today we're going to be focusing ourselves on 2.7 miles of overground tarmac, 14 corners. 6 of those will be to your left and 8 of those will be to your right, with about a 362 meter run down from pole to turn 1. I am the Dean Biggles, and once again joining me is the lovely Zachary Sweeney. G'day, g'day.
G'day. How are you, Biggles? I think once again we're in the future for the Sim Racing for Simpletons. This race has already taken place, but looking back on the past, and hopefully they've put on a good show for us.
Exactly. Once again, unfortunately, because something's just completely going wrong in my neck of the jungle, where an electrical pole went down and took both of my internets and my electricity for almost 24 hours. So unfortunately, my backups did not work. But that practice session that they did do is over, and the lone qualifying we're going to be on. And just because, once again, like last week, unfortunately, we're using the replay file of Brian, so thus we can only show Brian on the track. And out there, of course, you did beat me, Phil, across the pond there. G'day, Michael. G'day. How do we... Kiko, is it, again? I don't want to mess it up there from Mod. She did tell us how to pronounce that one correctly. She's in the chat.
I think it is Kiko, as in
Kiko.
Mod yeah. Kiko. Yeah, I think we're good. We did get a phonetic explanation of everyone's names, or at least the tricky ones. So, actually, no, I don't think Shmansky actually gave us one. Jakub didn't give us one. We know we got one from Kiko and also from Angelicio as well, who is also around. So we got them too. But other than that, you know, we've just been sort of left to do it to ourselves. But then again, they're mostly phonetic anyway, so it's all good. So Kiko, yeah, see? Biggles, mate, it's almost as if we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's true. And once again, this is the good thing. I mean, there's pros and cons. Obviously, live is always going to be better. We are watching it live once again. We do not know the results. So soon I'll give you the results from the previous round, but we don't know the results of this round. Obviously, drivers out there that are watching it do. So you'll have to hush on that. But it's good to actually, once again, isn't it, Zach, that the drivers can actually get to watch themselves already race before and see how we're going to kind of like bring that entertainment for them on the screen.
Well, we always do. It's almost as if what we're here to do, essentially, is to bring entertainment. I do apologise if my voice is a little bit on the nasally side. I am suffering from the very, very unfortunate and rare case of a cold. As tragic as it is, I know it's disgusting. It's not helped by the fact that I was up at 4:30 for the 24-hour the Nürburgring as well, which is not great, but there we go. Yeah, honestly. I've had a rough weekend, mate, and then I had to get up first thing today for college. But it's fine, because I finished college this week, so it's all good. Anyway, Brian Long, the only man that we get to witness around the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in qualifying, around the hot lap, and in a Formula 3 machine is probably going to be... well, I haven't ever driven it in a Formula 3 car. I've driven it in high downforce cars, but never a Formula 3 one. But what I can tell you is that with the sheer amount of downforce, with quite a bit of power as well, the run around this amazing circuit, it's tight, it's twisty, the streets of Montreal, and well, it's just, I don't know, it's like Monaco, but a little bit faster. The same slim margin for error in some cases, but some really fun and fast corners to battle your way through.
Ooh, a little bit of a tap on the fence there with Brian. I'd say similar to Albert Park to a degree.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Yeah.
Fast sweeping corners, of course, like this one here, diving in through there, and yeah, those walls take absolutely no presence. Of course, you've got the Wall of Champions. They'll be coming up in a little bit, but this fantastic overtaking opportunity corner right here, as you're going to see, dropping it down to, what do you reckon, a second, third? No, second. Oh, even first there. And now down the Casino Straight, where you just absolutely hammer it
indeed. Foot to the floor, climbing up the rev range. You can see the little LEDs on the steering wheel illuminating as they climb in speeds and speeds and speeds. You can see the RPM on the steering wheel as well, up towards 6.9 thousand revolutions per minute. That is absolutely insane to try and visualize. Third gear as you chuck your way through the final chicane. Try not to touch the wall of champions on the right hand side. It's claimed many a victim across the line, and well, surprise surprise, he goes to pole position. A 32.202 was the time that Brian Long was able to set in the early stages of this qualifying session. And track position, this qualifying session that they did a couple of days ago, Biggles, I mean, how tricky must it be to obviously get the lap time in of itself, but also how important is a lap time around this circuit? How easy is it to overtake?
He's overtaken opportunities. There is, into turn 1, if you're bold and brave there. Obviously, as I said, just before the casino straight, there's an overtaken opportunity. Sometimes you can try to do something. Well, I'm kind of used to Formula 1 too, with Formula 3, so I'd imagine they probably might even have more overtaken opportunities than Formula 1. And again, no DRS, remember, so it's just going to be a matter of slipstream. Well, so we're going to be watching Brian put in another lap real quick, because once again, we can only watch Brian, but don't you worry, all the other drivers are going to be joining us for the race. We will go over the race results from round 3. We won't show you the race results from this round, of course, because we want to keep that a surprise. I'm just going to hope sure I don't click on the wrong one and show the race results. So just double checking everything. There you go at the moment. I think it should show overall here in a second. There it is. If you'd like to read through that for us, please, Zach.
That's our championship standings as of coming into round number 4. So off the back of Road Atlanta. However, in a week's time, we will be getting the drop rounds into effect, which means their worst result up until now and their worst result thereafter will be deducted from their total points total. So look for Alexander Rivera to catapult himself to the top of the championship alongside Carsten Keane, who, as it stands, does lead 7 points clear of Daniel Whitfield. And as I say, Rivera, after a win and some really good results, obviously in both Red Bull Ring and at Road Atlanta, like we saw a week ago. We didn't actually see him at Donington Park, so P3 is the best that he can do. Then Kiko 5 points behind in 4th. Mackenzie Roon rounds off the top 5. Then comes Michael Brooks and Lucas Finco just behind that. Dominic Angelicchio, who unfortunately we haven't seen take to the field on Saturday. He unfortunately is going to be taking his drop round today. Nicholas Curto, Ian Reid, your top 10. Then comes McFarlane, Long, Dutton, Patience, and last in the 15-car strong championship standings as it stands. And well, it is heating up quite a bit. That rivalry that we see between Carsten Keane and Alexander Rivera, I think is going to be quite a one to remember. It's weird to say that after today, we're already going to be halfway through the championship.
That's true. It does go fast. Yeah, they say time flies when you're having fun. I'm just trying at the moment to see if I could just pull up the teams championship, because I had that one too for everybody out there. So get that up for you now to go over there as well, because we forgot we do have a teams championship, and there it is currently at the moment there, Zach.
Yeah, that's true. We got Valley Motorsport at the moment. Quite a comfortable lead, it must be said, ahead of Aston Martin. Wonder who is in the Aston Martin liveries. The 007, obviously, of Lucas Finco is there. Also, his teammate, again, not entirely sure. The teams championship, not necessarily one we really pay attention to as much, purely because teams are a little bit wishy-washy. It's not always an exact science, but second place for them, the Wrong Stuff Pink and Black, 3 and 4, the Wrong Stuff again, and then the Wrong Stuff Blue. So there's a lot of wrong stuff, so much so that it actually is the majority of the teams, and therefore probably the right stuff. And then Alcantech, NHR, they're rounding off the 7 strong teams on just a measly 12 points. Continuing on in qualifying, and a 32.569 is what Long is doing all by himself, very lonely out on the circuit. I wonder if we'll ever see anyone else take to the track in qualifying, but I don't think that's possible because iRacing replays are a little bit wacky like that.
Yeah, and yeah, trust me, as I said out there, I should get a backup of the backup. Well, the only backup of my 2 internet backups would be a satellite system there from Starlink, but I'm not planning on living in this country too much longer, and I go back to Australia, so I'm not going to invest all that money in it. But it would be an idea. Qualifying is going to come to an end in a minute, so I could actually pull up those qualifying results, but I just wanted to see if Brian's going to improve on his time. We don't know how quick Brian is going to be compared to the rest of the drivers. And I'd say a 32 there, flat. So that's probably going to be Brian's best time. And let's have a look then, Zachary, at the qualifying results.
Let's do so indeed. On Saturday evening, it's weird to say again, we're in the future looking back on the past. Alex Rivera eventually was able to take pole position, half a second clear of Mackenzie Roon. And as the humble man himself has just said in the YouTube chat, that Rivera guy is fast. He is indeed. Daniel Whitfield, Michael Brooks, second row with Seth MacFarlane rounding off the top 5. Modelise Kiko, she rounds off row 3 with Brian Long and Nicholas Curto, 7th and 8th. Colin McAllister and Lucas Finko, the top 10 with Carl Matheson, Joel Dutton and Jakub Szymanski, your 13 car field. No Carson Keane, however. So obviously not keen for victory today. Even though he's not here, we're still throwing in the puns. A little bit strange though. Rivera's already taken off his drop week. This is going to be Keane's drop week as well. Well, that is throwing a sparrow into the works. A bit more pressure for the pair of them in terms of the championship, because the final half of the season almost has to go flawlessly for them.
Actually, you have to be right on your money. Just going to see if I can show up the grid. That is a grid anyway. Let's see if I can just pull it up in the grid format as this session is finishing up. I'm just going to let it naturally progress itself into the gridding for the drivers, so that drivers can see exactly what happens when they're sitting in their cars and they're all nervous in the cockpits. But now they get to look at themselves, be nervous in the cockpit. Quite fun, actually, but we don't plan on doing this unless both my internets and my electricity go down again.
It's fine. It gave me the opportunity to go for a drive, so I'm all good with it. It's all good. Yeah, no. There we are in grid form. So Rivera, Roon, Whitfield, Brooks, first 4, McFarlane, Kiko, Long, Curto, McAllister, Finko, Matheson, and Dutton, and then Jakub Szymanski just in behind that in P13. That's the grid then, and yeah, no, it's fine. It was a bit short notice. I was like, oh, okay. I've just been sat around. I drove myself home and I was like, okay, it's not even happening, so it's fine. Come get me, Dad. And then we went for a little drive, so it's all right. And then we're here on a Monday to make sure we are delivering the incredible action that was the 4th round of the sim racing for simpletons here at the circuit, Gilles, Villeneuve. They'll roll around for the very short pace lap through the casino straight into the final couple of corners, and then we're underway for about 40-ish minutes of racing here with the stop along the way as well. Live on the JP Broadcasting YouTube channel. My name is Zach Sweeney, Dean Biggles alongside me. And, well, Dean, what's going to happen in around about 45 minutes' time when they cross the checkered flag for the second time? Because surely it's going to be quite a treacherous run.
Yeah, always the first lap jitteries. Per se, see if they do file in there. We got the grid is obviously a little bit lower. There is 13 drivers on that one. Sorry, so Jacob, we squeeze it there. He's there. There's Jacob. Yes, and on top of it's been a crazy weekend obviously of motorsports, hasn't it? With the 24-hour Nürburgring, you got the IndyCar of course as well too in Indianapolis, and so a lot of some of these drivers were participating. Please let us know in the chat too if you did participate in any of the 24-hour. Nordschleife. And Zachary, you said you were in the green room before. You were pretty busy from that as well.
Yeah, I was. I did the second 2 hours, so from hour 2 to 4, and then I did from hour 18 to hour 20. So yeah, 4 hours in total in the comms booth. Did get to see Max Verstappen, netcodes a poor GT or TCR car at the time, and then also take it 3 wide with Urano and Williams to take P3 overall, which he then managed to finish in the Team BMW Team Redline. But that was the Nürburgring 24-hour. That was an iRacing special event. This is a special event in of itself. This is the Sim Racing for Simpletons Formula 3 Championship. Alex Rivera, Mackenzie Roon, 1 and 2 with Brooks and Whitfield just in behind. The start zone is here. The foot to the floor. We are go in Montreal. What a great start that is from Alex Rivera. He's able to get himself ahead as it stands. He's actually backed up the pack once again. So we're going to wait for the second start. And there we go. 3 wide in the background as they get themselves underway for 30 laps of racing action. Rivera leads from Roon and Whitfield trying to send the move to the inside. Brooks trying to pick his way through as well. Through the left, then the right of turns 1 and 2. As it stands, though, a good start from Alex Rivera.
Excellent. As they're going to follow their way through. Just a couple of switcheroos at the back there, but so far so good. Driving over a GoPro camera. Look at that. Sensational speed, of course. Gilles Villeneuve always produces, Canada always produces, and look at that. A little bit of a gap forming there too from Alex Rivera, so I don't think you want to let him get too far down the road. The other position gainers and losers, I'll pull that up there at the moment for everybody to check out too as well.
So no changes, bar Curto versus Brian Long. Other than that, everyone stayed exactly where they are. No changes in the opening lap, which is where we'd expect the majority of the swaps, but a short run towards the first braking zone, I suppose, is the culprit for that. But slipstream and braking zones around here is likely to entertain a few, particularly maybe that fight for the lead between Rune and Rivera. However, I don't know. There's descent actually. That's Long to the inside of Curto, I think, just in the background there, running side by side. Long's trying to make the most of it. Not quite able to get his foot down as effectively and get his way past the Belgian. So for now, he's going to have to play second fiddle. But it seems that already overtaken is a bit of a struggle.
It seems so. But overtaken opportunities here now on the Aston Martin. It's turn 1. Got the track map up for everybody as well too, so get an idea where everybody is currently on the track. If you are, well, drivers know exactly where they were on the track at this time on Saturday. Still going for an update. 2 for Nell here.
Absolutely. Well, they are going to continue on that fight. Finko and McAllister as well, side by side in the run towards 3 and 4. The infamous chicane that in 2019 saw Sebastian Vettel stripped of his victory with a 5-second time penalty for going over the infield and doing a little bit of expensive lawn mowing for Montreal. But that was already 4 years ago, which is disgusting to think about. But besides that, yeah, it does make me feel a bit old because I was 13 when that happened, and I don't know, just a lot has happened since. That is bizarre. Makes you think how quick time goes, and well, here's Brian Long. P8 at the moment.
You're feeling old. Could you imagine?
I know, I'm the one feeling old.
How Phil feels out there.
Yeah, but but the thing is, though, I've gone from 13 to 17. That is a completely... I'm basically a new person between those 4 years, whereas Phil has just blinked and he's gotten 4 years older. No offense, Phil, obviously, just the changes that go through in that 4-year period for me. Obviously, you can tell by my voice that it's gotten a little bit deeper than it was when I was 13, and you would not want to hear me commentate when I was 13, let's put it that way, because James did get a taste of that when I was last sick, and I lost my voice a bit as Daniel Whitfield chucking it, commitment, first little tap to the wall of champions, maybe a bit of foreshadowing, but yeah, last time I was sick and I was losing my voice, there were some touring cars at Road Atlanta, and had to go really high and excited for it, and my voice was just not playing ball, and it honestly sounded as if I was 13 again. Regardless of which, I'll stop embarrassing myself because we've got a little tasty fight for the podium here between Whitfield and Brooks.
Yeah, at some point in the future, you're going to hear Zachary go, "Oh, hello, I'm Zachary. Welcome along to my casting." Deep. I can't do it really deep. You might crack into a really, really deep. It's not you break, but just cracked.
Unfortunately, yeah, I'd hope so at 17. If not, I'm a very late bloomer. But no, yeah, I often look back I often look back and I think I actually sounded like that, and people put up with me. I made friends with that voice, and I'm surprised I made friends with this voice, to be fair. But that's besides the point. Again, I'll stop embarrassing myself. Here's side by side though, Jakub Szymanski versus Matheson into the right-left chicane. The circuit Gilles Villeneuve is pretty much made up primarily of chicanes. It's a chicane into a chicane into a chicane into a chicane into a hairpin into a chicane
and into a wall
and then into a wall. Yeah,
it's
that.
Oh, coming back!
Oh, that's a step wall and a tap. Szymanski turned round, avoiding goes Joel Dutton. Carl Matheson on his home turf. The Canadian, the sole Canadian out there on the circuit. P13, unlucky number 13, as there's the number 12 machine of Brian Long to the inside.
Unfortunately, we won't have replays because we can't replay a replay, but we'll try to capture the action as much as we can. We're going to see these gladiators battle it out side by side to start another lap, and into turn 1, going for it again. Great wheel-to-wheel racing, but you kind of sense something's going to happen, don't you? Kind of foreseen it.
Like that.
Brian Gaunt goes around now. Can he get back out ahead of the old school McLaren livery? No, and he's going to drop essentially to the plump last now. Yeah, just like that.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
Well, I have a feeling this is going to be a long race for Brian Long. Once again, after not the most fun of showings at Road Atlanta either, unfortunately for him. This is Whitfield. He's got Brooks for company in the fight for third. The fight between Alexander Rivera and Mackenzie Roon growing to 2 seconds. Rivera, half a second in qualifying, I should say, has now seen him taken away in the start of this race. Here is the pole of Szymanski trying to promote himself back into the top 10 after collision with Matheson. Yoel Dutton, who we're getting told did run in the 24 Hours of the Nordschleife on Saturday and Sunday. He finds himself only in 11th. Here we go, though. Whitfield under some pressure. Brooks closing in. You can't even see him. He's almost matched a perfect shadow of the 64 machine in towards the chicane. No movement from this time by, though. Sometimes it's just about waiting for the mistake like that one from Mackenzie Roon.
Yes. So apologies about that camera not catching action on this one, but trust me, we're only on lap 5 of 30. You're going to be more action to see soon. Now, does Michael Brooks have the right stuff? That would be the question to make his way into P2. Alex still really running away with this one, as I said. But Alex get up the road there. It's going to be very, very hard to catch.
I think so too, honestly. With the way that he's come into the YouTube chat and said, oh, that Alex guy looks quick, it makes me think that either he's done a really good race that he's really proud of, or he's coming in and trying to play up the fact he did really well, and in actual fact he smashed into a wall at some point. That is what my pattern recognition is telling me, is that either it's gone really well for Rivera or it's gone really, really poor. So we'll find out in around about 25 laps time. We've got a pit stop along the way and a 3-way fight to decide as well. Whitfield, Brooks and Roon all fighting over second places. That might be what this race is turning into. Pushing the limits really, and literally pushing the 64 machine of Daniel Whitfield through there was Michael Brooks. He's watching along in the YouTube chat. He's cheering himself on in the grandstands of the JP Broadcasting online virtual chat room. He's closing at a rate of knots. Pulls to the left-hand side of your screen, the right-hand side of the circuit. Gives him the inside for the chicane. Late on the brakes, bit of a twitch as they both run their way through over the curbs, and Whitfield demoted to 3rd, then 4th after a poor run through the final chicane. Roon back onto the podium.
Just like that. Great. I would say we were kind of asking how much overtaking there's going to be here at this circuit. Well, it's been proven, hasn't it? Probably at least, give or take, I get about 20 overtakes so far. Obviously some of those with the spinneroos, but great action. Some of the drivers, of course, will be watching themselves but going, yes or no, if you're the one that was in the receiving end of the overtake. Or maybe, of course, they also are aware too that, hey, don't you worry, just keep your eyes peeled on the screen, and another 5 laps I'll get it back.
Yeah. If we see any eyes pop up in the YouTube chat, we know why, and we'll have a look.
What's happened to Seth? There he is.
Oh, that's a spin, and the 75 machine gets himself going again, though a couple of places down from where he was in the very black Alpine livery. We jump up to an Aston Martin of Nicholas Curto in the 46 Formula 3 machine, half a tenth back off Mod Kiko. She is hanging on brilliantly for 5th place and towards the hairpin at the back end of the circuit. All about that late apex. Getting told that second or first gear both can work. Second gear minimises the wheel spin because the higher gear means the engine needs to do more work to get the gear rotating at lower speed. First gear, maybe you've got too much torque. Maybe the wheels are going to spin. No assists, obviously, in these high-powered rear-wheel drive Formula 3 cars. So not really much to keep you planted in first gear. And obviously at hairpin, it's all about that acceleration. Going into a corner like that, then I guess with that challenge, what do? Do you play it safe in second, or do you try and feather it in first and get the drive, knowing that if you get it wrong, it could be quite disastrous? Maybe a 4, 5, 6, maybe more 10th loss through the back end of the circuit if you get it wrong.
Yeah, you're asking a non-driver. That's one for the chat. Absolutely, as we're on board with Mod, Elise. So go through. Making a run here now. So Kiko versus Kurto. And just before as well, too, Brian did make his way past Dutton. So up in a P11 after that earlier spin. How's the pressure mounting here at the moment, isn't it? When you've got a Aston Martin all over your rear bumper, trying to get past it. Kiko's doing a fantastic job trying to hold him off. She's like, I'm going to make it so difficult for you to find a way around. The Belgium driver has to find something around the British driver. And there it is. You've got to get a good exit down into the casino straight now. And then perhaps, if you're bold and brave, to pull one out before the final couple of turns and get a good exit out of the Wall of Champions, not into it. And looks like Mackenzie Roon has gone into the pit road as well.
Yeah, quite an early stop then. Whether that's for a bit of suspension damage after a tap with the Wall of Champions or a scheduled stop quite early on to get himself out of traffic. Nicholas Curto, by the way, for Tabula Rasa Esports. I'd just like to note, because that did spring up some alarm bells. I've just been followed by a co-owner of Tabula Rasa Esports on Twitter by the name of Derek Watson. He does some commentary for RaceSpot. And I just thought that was interesting because it popped up some alarm bells. I was like, hang on, I swear I've just seen that name very recently. And it is because of Nicholas Curto and the 46 machine. So cheers, Derek Watson, for the co-owner of Tabula Rasa Esports, for giving me a good old cheeky follow on Twitter, which I think everyone should do. I think it's in the bio of the video somewhere. Regardless of which, Mackenzie Roon into the pit lane very early on. Well, I mean, I know all the drivers know what he's doing. We don't, obviously, because we've done our best to minimise spoilers and commentate as if it is natural and live and happening right in front of our eyes. I'm just quite puzzled as to why you'd come in that early. Surely you want to stretch this in as long as possible.
It looked like a scheduled pit stop, so... yeah. Nothing wrong. I think Brian's come back off the track a little bit and come back on. Can't get those replays to show you, but two battles that are brewing, as you can see at the moment. So Nicholas Curto did get past Kiko. So she eventually had to yield that position. But no doubt she's going to be fighting back. You can see Nicholas Curto obviously getting full position. So he's liking Old Canada for now. Remember, they do have to make their pit stops, and whether or not you make a pit stop that early that we saw before with Mackenzie Roon will be the question.
Well, I guess it'll all come clear in around about 21 laps time as to who has made the right decisions and when. At the moment, though, gaps spread out quite a bit. There is Seth MacFarlane's, Colin McAllister as well. P78 for them. They've both had their rough edges of this race. Potato Sticks, also known as Mackenzie Roon, saying it was an unscheduled stop. So it's nice when we've got this. Brian Long into the pit lane as well.
It's perfect on that one too. So you can see the change of tyres goes on there because remember, once again on the replay, we get to see his lollipop person.
We do. Only for Brian Long.
Yeah, only for Brian.
Showing what the rear wheels can do as well. That's the talk that I was talking about when it comes to the hairpin. So he's in, he's changing his tyres, he's gone again. Unscheduled stop. Sausage Cup before the Wall of Champions got him good. So I'm assuming that means that has damaged his suspension ever so slightly. And that obviously shows the realism of this simulator of iRacing, in the sense that you take a Sausage Cup too harshly in open wheel, stiff suspension, low riding, single-seater cars, and they will bite back at you. There he is, continuing on. I do believe they get a single fast repair. So if he hasn't got to take a stop for the remainder of this race, it's not the end of the world. It's just a case of having to fight his way through for the rest of it, and obviously hope that he can get to the end. I'm assuming that he can get to the end on a single tank of fuel. 2/3 of the race. It doesn't seem overly ambitious.
Well, Mackenzie said out there in the chat there was an unscheduled stop, sausage curb before the Wall of Champions got him good. That's your answer to that question. Was it? Yeah, the fast repair. That's
that's what I mean. I did see that, and I was just thinking that obviously if he has to come back in again because of that unscheduled stop, and he's already fighting his way back through side by side with McFarlane, tries to get the up and under, no space there, bit of contact, his front wing gets rubbed, doesn't want to risk having to come back into the pit lane. Too wide as they race their way towards the fourth chicane of the circuit. Inside, outside, the 75 machine takes to the inside and the 99 outside. Bit of a lockup from the Alpine livery car, and Mackenzie Roon, as it stands, still having to play in 9th place. I mean, he's on a fight back after that damage, after that mistake, after the unscheduled pit stop, and the longer he spends behind McFarlane, the worse. However, wide there and a mistake, surely it's easy pickings for the 99.
It would be if you had your DRS activation course in the Formula 1 car. You would be absolutely annihilated down this straightaway with 17 kilometers an hour more speed. But this one, you don't have it. Now he's going to have to commit. Especially if you're going off the racing line. The only obviously scary part is if anybody wants to go on the pit road from there, you can't do it. Shouldn't be doing it, of course. That's in the rules. It's decided. Otherwise, you're going to be slamming straight into the other car. As Jacob enters the pit road for his first time. There's Jacob. I haven't put the cameras too much on you yet, Jacob, but should be a quick in and out.
Oh, you saw there, actually.
Yeah,
did you see the front nose? And yeah, he went in, stopped, wasn't stopped enough, so pulled forward a little bit. And I have to say, that probably cost him a second and a half, maybe, to stop, realize, and then do it again. It's those small things, as trivially as it is, of literally stopping in your pit box, so easily overlooked. Barely ever practiced in a practice session, but it can cost you time. Make a mistake, and it will throw things out of the balance, and that is exactly what it's done for Szymanski in this race. Obviously, he was quite far down, had the spin, etc. So probably a second and a half loss on top of that probably isn't going to hurt him too much. But just how easy those mistakes can happen, how applicable it is to maybe the lead, a fight for the lead or a fight for the podium. A small margin for errors can really mean the difference.
Absolutely, and it's more difficult if you have other cars at the pit road at the same time, because that you basically go through them and you have to spot your marker. And if there's a car just parked near you or ahead of you, oh, that's a tangle to the wall. Just a slight tap could bend your rear axle out, couldn't it? And we have some messages out there, of course, there from Alex. We'll get to that. Brian, sorry, we'll get that in a second. Ooh, another little lock up, I think, there from Mackenzie, wasn't it?
I think so.
I think, yeah. It was Alistair.
Maybe so. Yeah, well, either or. McAllister, yeah, there is a muck there. And at the moment, he's got Lucas Finco for company. Finco and the vice grips for many laps. Obviously, for those that don't know what vice grips are, they're basically pliers that, when you squeeze hard enough, lock in place. So what the analogy is saying is that McAllister has grabbed on to the rear end of Finco and is locked in on him and is bit by bit pulling tighter and tighter and trying to reel him in and find himself ahead into 6th place. What can the number 4 machine do? Of course, the number 4 machine a couple of years ago here at Canada had his rear brakes melting. So hopefully that's not quite going to be the case for Colin McAllister. He's able to continue on all fine. They have got Kiko not too far away, about 1.5 seconds up the road for that fight for 5th. Yeah. I don't know, again, how interested was McAllister in going for this move? Because with the top 5 there, it's a couple of extra points if maybe they work together and reel in that gap. But we'll see what the times are as they cross the start-finish line. It was a 1:31.9 for Kiko, matched by Finco, and about 0.3 off from McAllister. So no real changes there, and I don't know, maybe Kiko's able to just hang on and do what she does best, which is consistent results.
I was going to ask you who's the number 4 driver before, because I need you to reference to the Formula 1 drivers. Because welcome everybody, hit the like and subscribe if you do. Loving the broadcasting here on the JP Broadcasting Network. Of course, I'm Dean Biggles with Zach Sweeney, bringing you the action live from us, but from a replay file from Saturday's race. And don't forget, around the 22nd of May, James heads to Spain, and we'll do it and promise, of course, that if we hit 1K subscribers, which we already have, we're almost at 1.1K subscribers now, that he's going to give us a food cast from Spain. So make sure you tune in for that one. It's not always just about motor racing, because James loves his food, doesn't he? But look at this, they're starting to definitely slowly reel in Kiko. So we're going to turn into a 3-horse race. So your pit stops there too, Zachary. You can see that Mackenzie has made his mandatory pit stop, but whether or not they're going to be able to go to the end because it was an early pit stop is questionable. Kyle has had a little bit of a moment too. Let's just have a look if Kyle's come back onto the track. Kyle looks okay, but the information's given me about a crash. Continue back to this action with the number 4 Vanta Black. Ooh, just so much of a different speed coming out of the corner, isn't it? As you said, even those traction controls and fancy gizmos, you just got to get on the loud pedal and hope the car sticks.
Pretty much, yeah. Oh, wow, that was on the limit. I don't know if that was more the camera perspective or the sheer on the limitness of the car there, but that looked awesome from Colin McAllister. But yeah, these Formula 3 machines, obviously not quite to the spec of Formula 1, but around about in a similar pace to what a GT3 car would do. However, with no doors, no ceiling, no closed cockpit, you're out and in the elements with your wheels on show, with zero assist, no anti-lock braking system, no way of stopping the wheels locking if you press too hard on the brakes, no way of regulating the throttle inputs to ensure that the rear wheels don't slip as you try to deliver numerous hundreds of horsepower to them. There's no way of doing that. It's all based on instinct. It's all based on drive at feel, and around a circle like this, it's so difficult to get that balance so right. But a man that is nailing that balance and driving the car around like it's on rails is our race leader, the 222 of Alex Rivera, trying to etch his name into the history books of becoming the first ever sim racing for Simpletons Formula 3 champion. Already took the first win when we went to the Red Bull Ring and has since been on a charge, delivering brilliant results like last time out at Road Atlanta. Not bringing good results is, unfortunately, Brian Long going a little bit slowly.
Yeah, Brian, what happened out there? Couldn't quite catch it. Just said that I get some message up there saying you come off track there after you did pass Kyle. That was interesting. And of course, Brian will let us know in the chat. Brian is the big owner, so as you can see the Sim Racing for Simpletons message. That is Mr. Brian. We believe, unless Brian has an assistant typing it in for him. Another interesting thing I wanted to say, the Goodwill Speed Festival is coming up soon, remember? And if you wanted to see, I believe that Sebastian Vettel will be racing the same Williams, I think it was, that Nigel Mansell did last year. He brought it from him. He brought it, purchased it. He's also got another car he might be driving too at the Goodwill Speed Festival, so that'll be interesting to see. I'm not quite sure they're going to bring that Fan Force car that took the record back. That'll be. Do you remember that one, Zach, from last year?
Which one?
The Fan Force, the Mick. Somebody in the chat can probably help me out with that one. The Mick Murty.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. There's McAllister,
basically
though.
Everything that was banned. It's electric Fan Force car. Basically everything that's been banned from Formula 1 over the years, and that thing was just flying.
Oh.
You should. It was like, here we go, overtake. We'll get back to that, of course. The action's here.
It is indeed. Finko versus Ruin. Ruin on the fight back after the unscheduled stop is trying to get to the end. Just over halfway through, less than half to go, and Mackenzie Ruin has already taken the mandatory pit stop, so we'll see what it's like relative to Rivera, Brooks, Whitfield, etc. But who knows what can come out on top. Here's Szymanski versus Dutton as well. They fight for the final place inside the top 10. Inside line goes the pole, and brilliant stuff there. Brave, committed, bold, and up now into 10th place after taking the stop as well. He finds himself already ahead of Joel Dutton. So good stuff, it must be said, from Szymanski, and on a track that should be fairly difficult to overtake as Kiko gets it wrong and into the barrier. That's actually McAllister getting it all sorts of wrong through the fourth chicane and finds himself out of this race. Kiko able to continue on. She's fine. But that was a close call from those behind. It was a snap once, and then it was into the barrier, coursing its way across the track.
Straight back into the pit road for that heavy impact, no doubt. Can't see. It's actually saying he's completely out of the race right now, so from Column, so I'm not quite sure he's going to jump back into that car or not. I can't pull the car up at the pit road because it's not showing it. I wouldn't give up yet, would you? You're just over halfway through the race, and you can see anything can happen.
Anything can happen indeed, but obviously when you're a long way from home and you're going to lose so much time. You got to pit, take the fast repair, blah 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 blah. By that point, you're not really in contention. So as a driver, you just sort of say, "Sod it, I'm just going to go back to the pit lane. That's day done." It's not really that fun cruising around at the back, particularly if you've got really no chance for points. Mokiko coming into the YouTube chat and saying it was this lap my front left wheel started making a funny noise.
Oh.
and I thought you were going to crash. When it comes to wheels making funny noises
Have a look.
in the real world, let's take a listen in for those of you at home. Of course, I can't hear it, so...
Yeah. I could do the sound. Plop, 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 plop. No. That'd be a
Right.
puncher.
That sounds like a puncture. Sounds just like the tire is underinflated. Sounds, well, that essentially is a puncture, just on an extreme level. Yeah, I don't know. It just sounds like it's a high frequency rubbing. Could be the suspension a little bit out of play. I don't know. There's many an issue. I think you'll be all right though. Again.
Keep an eye, yeah. And Rune's time. So once they get across the line, we'll see how much is dropped. I'm not seeing a massive difference. You can say it's 1.1 now, 1.2 hovering around that. As she flies out of the final corner. And there it is, 1.3. So whatever it is, maybe the tyre starts to sort itself out. You notice that, don't you, in motor racing, especially sometimes in Formula 1 where they're complaining about the tyres, not cooperating or whatever, and then 10 laps later it's like, it's fine now.
Oh yeah, no, there's no issue. It's fine, absolutely fine. That was comedy. Biggles is the man for impressions. Hit him up for tyre noises all day, every day.
James won't let me do it, but I could cast the race in different accents and characters or something like that.
Oh yeah, because you're a theatre kid, so
yeah, exactly.
You've got it all down.
A bit of theatre experience helps, especially improv when you have to do those games like Switch and stuff like that. So you have to do it in a different accent. I can try to do a Queen one, but I won't do that. We'll do that sort of stone. But not going there.
Queen is in Freddie Mercury, or Queen is in the Queen?
Queen's in the Queen.
Oh right, okay.
May she rest in peace.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I doubt she's really speaking much. Yeah, as unfortunate as that is to say, God save the Queen, and now God save the King. Good old King Charles the Third. A little bit wide though from Finko, just behind.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. It wasn't Finko. It was the
number 4. That is of McAllister, who's back out on circuit.
Yes.
So took the tow, repaired the car, and came back out. So
good on you.
Yeah, fair play. I mean, we were knocking him a bit. Into the pit lane though comes Kiko. That always scares me. The pit lane here, on the left-hand side entry, into a braking zone after a long straight.
I know.
To me, that just sounds so unsafe.
And it's 80 km/h, I think. Yeah, I know it's in Formula 1. So exactly, it's mad because, if you're trying to make an overtake or somebody's trying to make an overtake on you or whatever and you're off that racing line, because, essentially the racing line's going to go straight into the pit road, but that's about a cooperation, isn't it, with the other drivers that are around you? To kind of like... it's almost like put a turn signal on your car or something to say, look, I'm about to box.
Or just stick your left hand out the window, or the cockpit. Brian Long saying that he will swear he has a race where he shows that he can drive. He's a GT driver 90% of the time, so the F3 has been a learning curve getting back into it. All I hear is a skill issue and suck it up, sunshine. No, I'm joking, that's a bit harsh. Just excuses. He'll be saying the sun was in his eyes at some point, and I don't know, his cat was under his feet as Joel Dutton comes in and out. Rivera also into the pit lane, really kickstarting the start of the pit stop phase as the top 2 in. We'll see what it's relative to Mackenzie Rune.
It's going to be crucial,
isn't it? He's able to get the jump.
Overstepping your pit box here and costing a little bit of time. Especially with the other drivers just down the road, as you can see the top 3. So spot it. There it is. Tiny little lock up. Didn't we see the quickest pit stop ever last week? The last time we did the broadcast, it was about under a second or something. Is that right? So I'm just trying to think if it was another league that cost so much, that.
Yeah, honestly, you in the YouTube chat, I'm sure you can appreciate there are so many broadcasts. I mean, I did 3 at Bathurst alone last week, which was fun, but confusing. Nicholas Curto up onto the jacks to change the tyres and then back down again. But yeah, Brian Long and a good old touche. And he spelled my name right, so cheers, mate. Appreciate that. Not many people do. But yeah, the amount of series that we do, even here on JPB, we've got so many around the week. It's like, hang on, do I remember that name from this one or this one? Is the point system this one or this one? Is the rules this or this? Is the calendar this or this? It does sort of all just blur itself into one.
James does it so well, of course. He's the boss. It's his man. I don't know how he manages it because he cuts a lot more than what both you and me do generally. I mean, you probably do. But remembers all the action from the previous rounds. No problems. Oh, and Nicholas just remembered that's not the way he wanted to take that corner. Oh,
don't do that! Oh, wow! Huge and stupid. I have to say, Nicholas Curto unfortunately found himself into the side of Seth MacFarlane.
Gonna get a push here too.
And that does sound like I'm getting it back from Rod Kiko. Fair play. Yeah, that is a skill issue from my part. Nicholas Curto, that was the biggest skill issue I think I've ever seen. Took tyres at the pit stop, and we didn't really get to see how that dynamic changed. Here is Mackenzie Roon fighting for the podium on the back of Daniel Whitfield for P3. In deep goes the 64 machine. Mackenzie Roon in the 99 gets the up and under. Tries to drive through at turns 3 and 4. But wow, that was a huge crash and sees both of them out of this race with just over 9 laps left to go. This is the narrative as it stands. Rivera running off P1, Brooks P2, Whitfield and Roon the fight for P3 with Kiko rounding off the top 5. Both of these cars on the limit, giving it their absolute everything. How long can Whitfield hang on for? Roon is a man on a mission.
Absolutely. Going for it too for now. You love to see this action. There's been a lot of action. In fact, all those races we've seen, not much practically. Really, I think we only had probably a lap or so. We had somebody really, some of the drivers separated by a second, but now, and not anymore. Now, both of them power sliding out of the final, out of the Laping, isn't it? I think it's called Laping, and then down Nick. See? I can't.
It is the... It's a hairpin,
yeah.
And then it's a back straight. That's what we'll go with because we're in. We speak English. Side by side, bit of argy-bargy. Look at that, wheels touching as they run their way in towards the final chicane. Daniel Whitfield on the outside. They're going to fight tooth and nail. He's done it. He's hung on to P3. Great mutual respect between the pair of them. Roon held off at bay. Brilliant respect from Daniel Whitfield and Mackenzie Roon. Brilliant defense there from Whitfield. He is fighting for this podium. They've got the gap back to Kiko. 22.5 seconds to play with here. I think we're going to have an all-out brawl.
I hope so. Wasn't that fantastic? Wheel-to-wheel driving there. I mean, you have to. I was going to say, there's no way. I've never seen two go out of the exit of the Wall of Champions side by side like that. So somebody had to lift. Somebody had to commit. Thankfully, both of them lived to see another lap on that one, otherwise it could have gone all pole shape. Just seems like at the moment that Mackenzie Roon's just struggling a little bit with the rear of that car after that overtake.
Yeah. I have to say, I can't actually quite remember if he took tyres or not at the stop. I'm assuming he did, because to go the whole distance on one set probably wouldn't put them in great shape. So I'm assuming it's because he's put on a fresh set at the stop, which was on lap 6 or 7 or not. Actually, no, it was 9, so 6 upside down. He has been on them for quite some time relative to Whitfield, who, whether or not he did take tyres or not, Mackenzie Roon has been on a fight back since the start of the race and pushing those tyres as much as possible. So naturally they are going to lose a little bit of life, and that might explain a lack of rear end, or it could just be pushing to the limit, putting his foot down a bit too quickly. Look at that. Look at the closing speed through the final chicane. Foot down to the floor, climbing up the rev range, increasing through the gears. No new tyres from Mackenzie Roon, so he's been on it and he's been pushing on them ever since. Not quite close enough into turns 1 and 2, but Whitfield is feeling the pressure, a little bit shaky, and with about 7 laps left to go, this is the fight for the podium.
Yeah, I was just trying to do a couple of little cameras there to try to give you a sensation of speed isn't from nose cam, because these drivers, of course, that are watching it back, don't even get those cams to choose from. They're just cockpit cam. So, just to give them something to enjoy, of course, out there for the motor racing. They commit weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and days and days and days and hours to get to this level. It's a great strength of field. You have to go back to that one before too, isn't it, about that accident before with the Aston Martin parked on the wrong place of the road. That's kind of when you need your spotter, isn't it, to kind of let you know, hey, there's cars coming around the corner.
In iRacing, you just press F3 and it tells you how close other cars are. It says, it would have said, oh, lock up though from Whitfield, wide at the hairpin, nipping his way up the inside goes Mackenzie Roon, but a bit of a slide, too eager on the power, now in the slipstream. under pressure. Whitfield gets a lucky escape from a mistake, but Mackenzie Roon is going to smell the vulnerability like a blood smell shark in the water. Pulls out now to the inside. He's got to be brave on the brakes. Once again, they're side by side into the final chicane. The 99 has a bit of overlap this time by, and up into third, and spun. Oh no, Daniel Whitfield is round, and he spins his way through. Oh wow, nearly. There, I think that's Carl Matheson cutting his way over the chicane as Whitfield is parked in a very precarious place. It's and McAllister, I should say. I apologise, the number 4 machine. Well, neither of them were getting told put tyres on. And, well, that is not going to be doing Whitfield's tyres any good. Roon now home straight in terms of that podium.
Absolutely. I wonder if they accidentally switched to inters or something during that pit stop. They're slipping and sliding all over the place. I thought that was Kiko there for a second. I thought she was flying around that corner. She's a little bit further back. Obviously, this is 14 seconds and change now, but it was dicey. This race has been full of action, absolutely. 7 to go now. That's the only thing you'd have to say there for both Alex and Michael up the road there. They're probably just going, I'm hearing all this action somewhere, but I'm not seeing it.
Well, the good thing is that they get to watch themselves do great, and then obviously watch other people have a bit of fun. Alex Rivera saying that was a close escape. It was, and then a couple of texts before that saying, did the most... honestly, I couldn't help but read this in an American accent, saying, y'all ever try the typical Boston accent, basically a whole different type of English. I'll be honest, I don't know what the Boston accent sounds like, so no, I haven't tried it. I will say my little sister can do a very, very good...
Oh, she can? Yeah.
Sassy, blonde American girl from, like, California when she does her little fake breakdowns.
Get her on one time in a broadcast to do that.
Oh, absolutely not. She would be too shy. She'd be like, oh, yeah, hi guys. My name's Emily. And that was my impression of my little sister, which is not great. So it tells you how successful I'd be at Boston. I was a Scottish pirate for my Year 6 play, and my friend's nan did actually think I was Scottish. So there we go. I didn't even mean to be Scottish. I was just trying to do a pirate accent, and it just turned into Scottish. So I just rolled with it, essentially. So yeah, Valley Girl. There we go. Jim giving me hope about Whitfield being off and a possible freebie, but no dice.
A pirate joke out there. What's a pirate's favourite letter? There's two.
Yeah.
Well, I'll leave that joke out there for the chat to answer. There's multiple answers actually to that one.
Hang on. The way that Mackenzie Roon has put it into the chat has made me think it's like a yeah, I don't know. The way he's put Ma makes me think of a New Yorker, like the Italian mobster New Yorker accent. I don't know. That's what makes me think. I don't know. Boston's like Mark Wahlberg. Ah, right.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Yeah. So kind of like a New Yorker, just not as strong. I don't know. I've never really been one when it comes to American dialects.
Right? Who does?
Oh, that's true.
He's a Bostoner, New England. Yeah, but he could do any accent, can't he? I mean, jeez. With the Family Guy.
He saves money on Family Guy in the sense that he didn't have to hire anyone because it was just a one-man show. Family Guy is essentially Seth MacFarlane talking to himself for 20 years.
He doesn't. He still does the voices, but he doesn't do the scripting, the drawing.
Yeah.
But yeah. I know. You can imagine him just doing rehearsals. He just sit there, just rehearsing to yourself all the time.
He's just on two different sides of the microphone. He just goes from over here to over here, and then just talking, say Cleveland and Quagmire or whoever. Actually, no, he does Quagmire and Brian. I don't know. I think that's two voices that he does. There is Alex Rivera.
Yeah. Alex, how you doing out there? I mean, you're obviously enjoying. We're going to put you a little bit of camera time while we have a chance to see how you're doing. We're going to ride on board and see why this man is so quick. I'm actually wondering out there, while we have a little bit of time, if we can hopefully we can get to chat to some of your drivers as well too, because you're in here in the chat, so we can chat to you like we were chatting at the end of a regular race that we'd be broadcasting live. I don't know if we want to get Alex in to give us a hot lap, perhaps. Alex, if you're keen, you're in the Discord, my friend.
We do have to do it in a British accent. Because
no, we won't, mate. You've had to force him to do it in an accent, but why he's just absolutely dominated this race. Let me know there, Zach, if Alex does want to come. Whoa! That's Joel. And what's happened there?
Just a generic spin.
Joel, yeah. Then that's the kind of scary moment you'd have to say there for Alex, isn't it? Because leading this race, all of a sudden you don't want to be seeing a car parked in the middle of the road after doing all that great work.
And speaking of Alex Rivera, we have got him in the interview waiting room, so we will drag him in. We'll have a chat. Alex Rivera, hello, the man from the future. You're looking upon your past self, Back to the Future, and you're on lap 27 of 30. Just pretend as if you're in the car and give us a good old walk around of the circuit Gilles Villeneuve.
Yeah, he'll have to look at the screen that I'm sharing at the moment too, so you can get the live pictures, not the delayed YouTube a little bit. Do you have Mr. Alex here?
I think he's too concentrated driving the car, I'll be honest. I don't know. Maybe we'll get him in as soon as he's ready, as soon as he's able to hear us. He's just muted and deafened, so I'm sure he's sorting out a microphone. Have you got us now, Alex? Crickets again.
Alex,
I'm guessing no.
And maybe a radio malfunction there.
Essentially. All the way across the pond. We'll get him in eventually, and hopefully before the end of the race, of which we are on to lap 28 of 30. 3 laps left to go on Alex Rivera's pursuit to victory. 11 seconds clear as it stands of Michael Brooks. And Mackenzie Roon rounds off the podium. No other close gaps beyond that, so we're waiting and waiting for Mr. Rivera to jump in and give us a tour around the very, very famous Canadian kind of streets, semi-permanent racetrack of the circuit Gilles Villeneuve.
Exactly. There's the gainers and losers, of course. So you have to give it to Jacob at the moment, the pole driver. 6 positions gained. Be happy with that one. And Kinko Sheed happy with the 4 positions gained. We do know that Paul Seth McFarlane there and Nicholas aren't too happy with those results. Have retired from the session. No changes there from Alex. He put it on pole and has led every lap since, with an 11-second gap to Michael Brooks. It's gained a couple of positions as well. Drive for the USA. Good day for the USA, really, with the top 3 looking good for potential podium at the moment. A couple laps to go.
And still, we have lost Alex Rivera once more. He's just backed out of the broadcast room, so maybe not confident enough in his commentary ability. Maybe we called his bluff a little bit. Maybe he wasn't actually expecting to come in and do anything. Who knows?
What about Mackenzie or Michael? Or even Brian, of course. The boss man can come in. Got a couple of laps if you do want us to jump on board there, and you can give us a hot lap guide.
Yeah, but we don't have time to go on board with a lap with Brian Long. It'll take too long. So I shouldn't say that really, because he is quite literally paying for me to be here right now, essentially. So I won't insult him too much more before he says, "James, mate, can you get that Zach Sweeney guy off the broadcast, please?" Because every time he just emasculates me and deflates my ego. So yeah, no, I do love a bit of good old banter, as we say here in the UK. And Brian Long, there we go, proving my point. The comedic timing on that one, I'm so sorry. But he hops and skips his way over. Once again, we've got Alex Rivera in the interview waiting room, so maybe he can talk us through the final lap of this race, of which it is coming in about 0.7 of a lap. Alex Rivera, have we got you now?
Yep,
There we go.
Alex, just
Awesome.
check out the pictures that I'm sharing at the moment. So if you don't mind, give us a hot lap, of course, on the last lap.
Yeah, of course, on the last lap. I think I actually make a mistake on this last lap, so it should be fun kind of watching the mistake. I mean, of course, coming into the hairpin here, down to first, simple as you like. It's all about managing the wheel spin on the exit, trying to take a wide-ish line, but keep it narrow. If you keep it narrow, you can get it turned more and basically get a straight shot down the long straight here. Usually around here, I have a think, try and figure out what I'm doing, maybe what I'm having for dinner. And then trying to spot my braking zone, braking just at the 2, hitting this inside curb, missing that inside curb, and then trying to plant throttle as soon as I get off and settled of that curbing. And then yeah, have another think, come down here, braking right there essentially, down into second, down into first for this corner, trying to hug it tight and get on power early again, and swing out wide, make a little bit in the inside, just straight lining essentially. Down to third, hate this corner. I almost always try and bend it into the wall there, but it's natural. Up here, I'm pretty sure this is where I make the mistake. End up going deep in braking. Yep, end up doing braking. I love that. I love watching my mistakes. Didn't hurt too badly though, just went a little bit deep. But yeah, don't do that. Don't follow that line. Try and take that tight curve. Finally coming up here into this final chicane, down to third, just barely onto that curbing, back on power, and trying to get as close as possible to the wall outside. Again, I hate that corner, because if you do it right, you're like sliding right up to that wall. It's terrifying. And we're back into the final hairpin before the back straight. Again, just kind of straight lining it, making sure I'm managing that wheel spin and not destroying the tires.
Would you have a smile on your face right now because you know that just a couple more corners to go? You've got this race one in the bags for the 222 machine. Alex, would you feeling? Your heart rate's calming down there, or is it getting even more excited?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm currently driving at the moment, so this is extremely heart beating. But no, I mean, I was calm for most of the race. Most of the end of the race, I was just managing my pace, managing my tires. I had somebody in my own Discord I was kind of having a nice conversation with, and he was doing a little bit of the engineering for me, making sure I was managing. But yeah, I'm excited. I mean, don't want to say easy win, but it was a good day for me.
Let's put it that way. Well, you've ticked off for your third win of the season with Canada. You won at the Red Bull Ring and at Road Atlanta, if memory serves me correct. The only one you didn't win was the one you didn't turn up to. So that Rivera guy is kind of quick. Michael Brooks and Mackenzie Roon joined you on the podium in second and third. A brilliant recovery drive, it must be said, from the 99. Daniel Whitfield there across the line in fourth after a late mistake with Model E's Kiko. She comes home just only about 2.2 seconds off the back of P4, which is not a bad result at all. Lucas Finko, the 007, comes home sixth with Jakub Szymanski up 6 places after a poor start and a spin. The pole will see 7th place here in Montreal. We'll wait for the rest of the drivers to come through and then talk you through the full result order of round number 4 of the SR4S, the Sim Racing for Simpletons Formula 3 Championship. And already we're halfway through the season, Alex. I guess while we've got you here, what are you looking forward to most for the second half?
Honestly, I'm looking forward to COTA. I love COTA. Not terribly strong track. The last time that I drove it, I had a pretty decent result, but I absolutely destroyed my tires by the end of the race. And was just basically holding off everybody behind me for as long as I could. So I'm looking forward to going back to COTA. I think it's an incredible track, incredibly fun. And I'm hoping to get a win there, because I've never won there before.
Oh, interesting. Right, okay. Fair play. And in terms of the championship, as soon as your drop score is deducted, you'll be absolutely flying out in front of the championship standings, I'm sure. But surely that drop round's obviously not turning up. Does that not put any pressure on in your mind for the rest of the season, knowing that one mistake and it does actually score 0 on your score sheet?
Yes and no. I mean, when I first started the championship, I was only planning to do this championship part-time anyways. So it's kind of been great that I've been able to make as many rounds as I have been, and I've been able to do as well as I have been. So I'm kind of keeping that mentality of like, yeah, if I keep the championship lead, that's great, that's amazing. I'd love to win it. But realistically, I know there's at least one other round I'm probably gonna miss. So fortunately, I have to take it at a realistic point and just try and do my best every race.
Drive faster and it won't be an issue. Just win all the races and then build a points gap that you can miss as many races as you like. Thanks for talking to us, Alex. And before we let you go, are there anyone you want to give a shout out to from Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, obviously everybody in this league, they've been amazing. Everybody drives great. Brian has amazing league. You guys do amazing commentary, even if it's a day late, 2 days late. No, it's been great. I mean, of course, I have my own team, Self-Entitled Muppets, and they're usually in there keeping me calm, making sure I'm hitting my marks and managing my expectations. Shame that Carson couldn't make it this past weekend. He's been a great competitor to drive with. Instead, I had to race with Roon and Brooks. What guys? No, I'm kidding.
It wasn't really much of a race, was it? I'll be honest, you finished 11 seconds in front. You took off from lap 1. But besides the point, thank you for talking to us, Alex. Thank you for the hot lap as well, and best of luck for the rest of the season.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Cool. Cheers, Alex Rivera. There we go. The winner of the third race. He's got a 75% win rate here. We'll get a chat with Brian, who is in the interview waiting room, or well was. I've now just dragged him into the green room here in the broadcast, joining myself and Biggles. Brian, obviously, once again, a bit of a tough race for you, but in terms of the race, you managed to scrape a P8 -1 position from where you qualified, but I guess with how difficult that race was, you couldn't really have asked for much better.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I have actually been a little been a little disappointed with how I've been driving, and then the fact that I've had to submit 2 replays now, and both of them were not the best representations. It's been interesting to say the least, but it's been a lot of fun. And CGV I was happy with because I got maybe 40 total laps of practice all week. We've been focusing on the Nürburgring race this weekend, so yeah, I was, it wasn't my best showing, but also it was just fun. I like to show up just to make sure everything's going smooth and be there.
Fair enough. You just got to turn up. You got to do your best and have at it. Basically, what you're saying is when Biggles' internet gives out, you also give out in terms of your driving ability. So we'll see. Again, thank you for still having me and still wanting me to commentate your races, even though each time I do rip you quite a lot.
Yeah, you heard that this time, didn't you there, Brian? It's not like you have to watch it back later to hear Zach ripping on you.
That's true.
Oh, that's right. No, it's a lot of fun. You guys, I get so much so many compliments from a lot of people who watch.
Why are you getting the compliments? Hang on.
I'm giving them to you now. But people check in all the time and they say, like, that was some of the who was that? I don't remember if it was a league member or a team member, but somebody said it was the best broadcast they've seen yet because Shane Larson, that's who it was, one of the drivers, and he's just super busy because he's getting ready to leave for his LDS mission. So he's not around as much as he'd like to be, but he was saying it's the best broadcast he's watched just because he loves, you guys know what you're talking about, and he loves the comedy a little bit. And yeah, he was giving me mad props on that you guys are the broadcast. And so that goes to you because you guys do the work. So
well, thank you
so much, because I know a lot of people feel the same. They feel the same.
Thank you very much. I mean, yeah, as in you guys know a lot. No, that's Zach. He knows all that technical stuff of the racing.
I'm glad you think so, because I don't, mate.
Yeah, I point the camera in a direction and just... I know Formula 1, but of course these are Formula 3s, but with this... Yeah, but no, that's lovely, lovely words. Thank you very much. It makes us more, appreciate the work we do, and we put more and more effort into it as well to try to make you gladiators, of course. You're the ones that's on the stage. We're just the ones that are casting your performances.
Yeah, it's a partnership though, right? Like, we need both.
$1 short on that one, sorry, again, but yeah.
Yeah, well, we all race in a fake simulator, right? And then we live in the real world, so things happen. And you guys were mentioning earlier that I pay the broadcast, but it's not really me. Everybody in this league pays an entry fee, and all that money goes towards either paying for you guys to do your thing or just rewards and prizes in the league. So I don't do anything other than just build the spreadsheets and recruit drivers. So.
And save replays as well.
Yeah,
just a little bit of an extra responsibility on top of that. But yeah, well, that is...
Yeah, Zach, real quick there. I was let you wrap it up there, Brian. But what was great is that we get to see you take that pit stop there. You do your burnout of the pit stop, the lollipop, once again. You don't see that in a regular broadcast. That last pit stop was a bit tricky for you, wasn't it? You definitely hit the loud pedal, and that car was screaming.
Oh, out of the exit, I did. I was trying to get out, and I was like, well, the tires are cold. Might as well warm them up a little, and mission accomplished.
Excellent. All right, thank you very much.
And look cool as well.
Zachary?
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Just wanted to hop in, say thank you, and just appreciate all the work you guys do.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Smiling now, which is great because I feel sick, but there we go. Brian Long, ladies and gentlemen, the big man at the top of the SR4S, a very community-based championship, which, it's awesome to see the great atmosphere that... we'll see. As long as you still want me here, that's all good. But we'll see how bad the insults get come the season's end. But it is weird that we're already halfway through. Round number 4 here from the circuit, Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Canada. My name has been Zach Sweeney. I've had Dean Biggles alongside me here on the JP Broadcasting YouTube channel. If you have enjoyed, like, subscribe, turn the bell on for notifications to not miss a thing that comes your way in terms of the sim racing world. We have it all, and you will find a home. Join us in a week's time, hopefully, actually less than a week's time, Saturday, for yet another round number 5, ticking into the second half of the season already. Hopefully it won't be in a week's time, but we'll wait and see as to how the internet in Panama is hanging on. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, we hope to see you here for some more Formula 3 action, because week in, week out, they do deliver. The championship fight is for sure going to be down to the wire. From myself and Dean, is a very warm goodbye.